podcast for anyone looking to get ahead in life and willing to take action and reach their full potential. Using Champ's male mentoring model of the 3 E's, education, empowerment, and exposure, it means you too are born to win.
I'm born to win. Live. The Champs from Chicago be screaming all that. You are now tuned in to the Born to Win podcast. Champion.
Remember, I need for everyone to tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, anywhere where there's a podcast streaming. You don't want to miss this particular podcast. We have a very, very, very special guest, and I'm going to actually bring him on the screen. He is the executive director, the founder, the president, the CEO of the greatest organization known to man. I Am a Gentleman. That's I Am a Gentleman program, founded by none other than my good brother and friend, Jermaine Lawrence Anderson. Now, in recent years, Jermaine, of course, enterprises. He has his own brand, y'all. Is the founder and has educated and empowered many clients and businesses alike to discover their purpose. And we talk about purpose quite a bit as they journey to achieve personal and professional success. Jermaine has been the force behind many exclusive brands, products, and record-breaking live events, including the Chicago Gentlemen's Brunch, in which I've had the privilege of attending on several occasions. Jermaine Lawrence Anderson was recognized, listen to this, by Real Times Media Group as someone you should know, who's who in Black Chicago, and was recently appointed to NBC's 5 Chicago's Community Action Board. In addition, Jermaine was named as a 2016 Man of Excellence by the Chicago Defender newspaper. And of course, Jermaine is all over television, all over the internet. I think he might have broke the internet one time. We're still trying to repair that, Jermaine. But listen, this is a wonderful man to our community. He is a powerful trailblazer in terms of boys and young men of color. And I am exclusively proud to be able to bring on to the Born to Win podcast my good brother, Jermaine Anderson. Welcome, Jermaine. How we doing, good brother?
Well, hello, my dear brother and friend, Brother Vondell. I am so elated, honored, and ecstatic for this appearance on the Born to Win podcast. You know, I value the work of Champs Male Mentoring and what you do and everything that you do, and just really excited to be a part of this segment to just share some information about who we are and what we do.
Hey, listen, man, everybody had to know who you are. If you don't mind, man, just going into your story and sharing who you are. Tell us a little bit about how all of this came into fruition, my brother.
You know, I just consider myself an average citizen of one of the greatest cities in the world, the city of Chicago. Again, I am Jermaine Lawrence Anderson, and I have the privilege to serve as the founder and the executive director for an organization that is called I Am a Gentleman Incorporated. And here at I Am a Gentleman, we empower young men for successful careers, healthy lifestyles, and marketable relationships. And these young men that we serve and the team that I serve, they allow me the privilege of serving them and serving in this capacity as executive director. You know, I started I Am a Gentleman back in 2016. And in my previous career, I spent many years as a full-time public speaker traveling the globe, speaking and trying to inspire others and encourage others. And many of the places where I would speak, Brother Vondell, would be graduation exercises, schools, universities. And I would always see other young Black boys who looked like me make it to what I thought was the biggest day of their life, graduation, but not have enough resources to make it beyond graduation day. And it wasn't enough for me to encourage them and inspire them. I wanted to be that inspiration that bridged the gap. And I had this epiphany, if you would, this light bulb moment that I wanted to create a one-day event for young men of color. And during this one-day event, I just simply wanted to help clothe young men in business attire so that they could look good on graduation day. Because as you know, anyone who looks good, they begin to feel good. And anyone who feel good begins to walk down a different path in life. And I said, I want to create an event that we can help clothe 1,000 young men in the city of Chicago in the finest threads that we can find to help them for graduation day.
Yes, sir.
And as we were curating this event and producing this event, trying to get it all together, I wanted to, ensure that I just wasn't giving away apparel. I just wasn't, giving someone a handout, but I wanted to create a challenge. So we created an 8-hour experience day for young men in 2016 that was called Project Gentleman. And we told young men from all across our entire city, if you can make it through 8 hours of programming filled with guest speakers, workshops, and the like, at the end of the day, you can go shopping in our boutique. You can go in Brother Jermaine's closet. And we weren't sure how the event was going to turn out. I think you were at the first one, but
yes.
Over 300 young men showed up in downtown Chicago on Michigan Avenue for this fantastic experience. And we gave them just what we promised them. And of course, the event was over. I was back to the next best thing in my career. I was on to the next move in life until one day my phone started ringing. My DMs started to become flooded. My emails was chiming from the young men who was at that event and said, Brother Jermaine, we want some more.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you want more? We've given you A, B, C, D, and E, X, Y, and Z. And they kept calling saying, we want some more of what we received at Project Gentleman. And that was the light bulb moment that sparked in my spirit that said, Jermaine, it's time to do a little bit more. And that's how I Am a Gentleman was started.
Powerful. And listen, y'all, man, I'm going to tell y'all something. Like, I remember being there and experiencing what Jermaine is talking about. This wasn't a game, y'all. This was serious business. And it was so high level that the young men walked away and they felt valued. They didn't felt cheated. They didn't felt cheap, right? It was an experience that made such an impact, as he said, that it created, watch this, y'all, it created a movement.
Absolutely.
And so if you can just tell us a little bit more about your functioning, your role, your vision, your mission with I Am a Gentleman. How did that all start in terms of next steps after that?
Yeah, so, as I just outlined, that was the seed that was planted. The seed that was planted was really planted by the young men. And I was, of course, the one that was instrumental in taking the next steps. I'm a Christian brother and I believe in the Bible. The Bible says one plants, one waters, but God gives the increase. So the young men planted the seeds. We were there to water the seeds and God gave the increase. And specifically what that means is that I challenged these young men who told me that they wanted more. And I told them, if you want more, then you have to rise to the occasion. And what that means is that you have to get up on Saturday mornings.
Love it.
Put on the attire that you got from Project Gentleman.
That's right.
And you have to meet me in the community, in the neighborhood. And we're going to sit down and have real life conversation. And at that time, we called it the Polka Dot Socks Experience. And of course, now we're known as the Male Mentoring Academy. But that's what we do each and every Saturday in the city of Chicago. Our young men do three things. They get up, they dress up, and they show up. And they show up for a life-changing experience that we have created week in and week out for them. And this experience includes male mentoring, leadership development. They participate in community service projects. They are taken on cultural outings. They have a time for recreation, really so that we can make sure that as they matriculate through life, that they have a holistic experience that can catapult them to the next level and really allow them the opportunity to be exposed to new ideas, new opportunities that they would not have received without the training that we give them.
And you know what, everybody? What's powerful is now that when we're in our environment within the Chicago community, and I run into men that have been a part of the program. And they ask me, Brother Anderson? Brother Jermaine? I'm like, yep. And now we are building the future generation of leaders that are taking the information, applying it to their lives, and then they're telling other individuals about their experience.
Absolutely.
And man, if you can just talk to broken hearts and broken minds of individuals that have experienced loss throughout this pandemic. Many people have lost loved ones, lost their jobs, their homes. And yet what we see is a beacon of hope and a beacon of light within the community during the toughest times. You're passing out food, you're ministering in special ways to the community. And I think it's really important and vitally important for people to understand that they cannot get caught in the stigmatism and the mystique of what the media has portrayed Chicago to be. There are beacons of hope and beacons of light like Jermaine and his team that are doing phenomenal work day in and day out in the great city of Chicago. And so if you can speak to those who have lost a little bit of steam, a little bit of hope, and give us your definition of hope and talk about the things that you have done throughout this pandemic to provide hope.
I want to begin by congratulating all of those organizations and ministries and companies that have stepped up during the time of pandemic. We serve here at I Am a Gentleman, but we are not the only ones that are serving. I call Brother Vondell, I call you at least a couple times a week to say, hey, what do you guys have going on? How can we be a part? And you do the same. That's because I believe that we all own a piece of the pie. And people hear the term, I am a gentleman, and people ask me at least 10 times a day, Brother Jermaine, what is a gentleman? And our definition of a gentleman is one who gives back, takes responsibility, and makes life better for someone else. And everything that you may see us doing here at I Am a Gentleman, whether it's male mentoring, whether it's leadership development, whether it's serving in the community, feeding those and providing clothes to those who need it most, whatever you see us doing is going to fall into one of those categories: giving back, taking responsibility, and making life better for someone else, because that's what allows us to stay true to our mission. When you talk about hope, hope is a short 4-letter word, but it is one of the most powerful words that I can think of.
Amen.
And hope really means that we are entrusted with something that is called, I believe, our lives, that is designed to inspire the life of someone else. I remember at the very beginning of the pandemic, God just gave me something that I began sharing on social media. I began sharing it with our young people. I began sharing it around my church, the church that I attend. I began sharing it in the pandemic, and I'll share it here on the Born to Win podcast. I said, although we are living in a pandemic, we must not look like the pandemic.
Ooh, you got to say that one more time. Hold on. Somebody didn't catch it. Come on, talk. Yes, say it one more time, brother.
Although we are living in a pandemic, we must not look like the pandemic. I believe that the pandemic was sent to us as a challenge. It was sent to us as a test. It was sent to us to be a major obstacle. But only the ones that will endure throughout the pandemic, that will thrive in the midst of the pandemic, will be those who overcome every test, every challenge, and every obstacle. So even when we were sheltered in place for many months and could not go outside, Brother Vondell, I would get up every morning and put on my best clothes. I would get up every morning and wash my face and comb my hair. I would leave home and just go out and walk around the neighborhood to ensure that I did not get stuck in something that was designed to keep me down, but that I would overcome the greatest obstacle that we had seen in our country in over 50 years.
Ooh, Jesus. Hey, listen. I told you, this is one of those you want to listen to, and not only listen to, but I need for you to share it, because he just says something so powerful. Some of us look like what we've been through. And he's saying that he pushed against that narrative, and he actively created an environment within an environment that was counter the environment that he was in. And some of you may be listening saying, you know what? I've cheated myself. I haven't lived out my full potential because I've allowed the circumstances to choke out my purpose and my potential. And so I think it's contagious too when we able to express that there's another level, there's a more excellent way to live. And you're saying that you demonstrated that in your own personal life. And what we're going to do, we're going to have to do a part 2 here. We actually had another young man that was supposed to be the co-host, and he's having some technical difficulties. And he just sent me a text and said, I have questions that I need to ask Brother Jermaine. And so we're going to have to cut this short because I wanted this brother to come in. But again, we've had some technical difficulties with him, and I don't want to take his shine away from him because we are in the business of including the voices of our young people. But I do want Jermaine to just share for part 1 how everybody can get a hold of you. What's your contact information, your social media handles? How do we follow I Am a Gentleman and what you're doing across this great city?
Absolutely. We would love to connect with you here at I Am a Gentleman. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram using the handle at IAAGINC on both Facebook and Instagram. If you're a little bit more mature and you still send emails, you can send us an email at info@iamagentleman.org. And if you're really seasoned and you just want to pick up the phone and call us, we would love to talk to you at 312-471-5590. Again, that's 312-471-5590.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Brother J1, good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm good. Dealing with like a lot of young men, because certain people, like a lot of people ain't have a father. So like, is it hard dealing with different energies, or you just adapt to it?
That's a really great question. I'm so glad that you asked that question. I really have an affinity to work with young men like yourself and even all the young men that come through the doors of I Am a Gentleman, because I realized early on that there are so many similarities that we each have, but if we don't sit down and talk about them, we will never know what they are. And you are absolutely correct. Many young men don't have a father, but I believe that, our lives are given to us to inspire each other. So even for those young men who don't have a father, I don't try to be their father, but I try to be that inspiration that they need, just as if they did have a father.
All right. So that was a question from J1, but I want to bring Jermaine back on to ask him about his experience last week with the president. And what was that like for I Am a Gentleman to meet and engage with President Barack Obama? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. It was an amazing experience to have the opportunity to share time with probably a gentleman that's going to go down in history as one of the most popular men of all time, President Barack Obama. And while I had the pleasure of meeting and hanging out with him last week, and even with you, Brother Vondell, you were there as well, that was not my first time meeting the president, but it's just always a humbling thing to be in the same space with a man that has led the free world. But more importantly, I was more impressed that I had the opportunity to bring some of the young men that we serve at I Am a Gentleman with me to meet the president. I think it was more important for those young men to have the opportunity to meet Mr. President, as I call him, more so than it was for me. Because young men, they need to see that, President Obama was from the south side of Chicago, made it all the way to the White House in Washington, D.C., came back to the south side of Chicago and was in a space that they were familiar with. It was very low security around. You were able to walk up to him, shake his hand, interact with him. One of the young men said to me, Brother Jermaine, I don't think I'm ever going to wash my hands again. Another young man said, man, Brother Jermaine, why didn't you tell me the president was going to be here? I should have had on a glove so that when I shook his hand, I could have put the glove in a glass case afterwards. And that just let me know the impact that one life can have on so many.
Like, is it hard to convince like youth who never dress like like you, right? Is it hard to like get them to like wear a tie and all like suits and ties and all that? Cause like me growing up, I wasn't into the suit and tie thing, and I know a lot of other kids probably not into the suit and tie thing. So like, how you? I don't know, like how it
Yeah,
work.
man, brother J1, you asked some really great questions. So let me start from the front, and then I'll work my way all the way up. We teach young men here at our organization what it means to be a gentleman. And most of them ask me all the time, and even when I travel, Brother Jermaine, what is a gentleman? We hear this thing about I am a gentleman, I am a gentleman, I am a gentleman. And I tell them that being a gentleman is about giving back, taking responsibility, and making life better for other people. Now, I enjoy wearing suits and ties every day. That's just me. But being a gentleman has nothing to do with wearing a suit and tie, but it does have everything to do with dressing the way that makes you feel that you are your best person. So, to answer your question, believe it or not, I have never had a problem with a young man putting on one of our pink ties. Now, it's so funny. We have our program in high schools, it's in elementary schools, we have it in the community. And there was this one young man from Wendell Phillips High School. And if you know anything about Wendell Phillips, it's on the south side of the city,
Yeah, I went
right?
there.
You went there, there you go, right on the low end. And there was this young man there who was a part of the program named Jamari. And on day one, Jamari, he's big and buff. He came up to me. He was like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "What's up, brother Jamari?" He was like, "Now you know I'm not about to put on no pink necktie, right?" I was like, "Why?" He was like, "No, that's just not my thing, bro." So I pulled Jamari aside and told him what the pink necktie represented, what it meant. And it was amazing. Once I put that pink necktie on Jamari, I put a mirror in front of him, allow him to look at himself, and I showed him that he could be a natural born leader, not just at Wendell Phillips High School, but in his community, in his family, in his neighborhood, and in the city. And Jamari wore that pink necktie proud for all 12 weeks that he was a part of the I Am a Gentleman program. And that's just the effect that the pink necktie for us has had on so many. Yeah, so when you visit us, J1, I got a pink necktie just for you.
Yeah, I've been looking for some suits, man.
Okay, good stuff.
I want to say thank everybody for tuning in to another Born to Win podcast. Remember, share this with someone. You never know on the listening side who this may impact and who needs to hear it. And then secondly, I need for everyone to follow, like, subscribe to I Am a Gentleman and support, donate, volunteer. We need all hands on deck with our boys and young men of color here in Chicago, and Jermaine is a definite leader in this space. So again, I want to say peace.
The Born to Win podcast highlights individuals excelling at high levels in their purpose and calling. This podcast is for anyone looking to get ahead in life and willing to take action and reach their full potential. Using Champ's male mentoring model of the 3 E's, education, empowerment, and exposure, it means you too are born to win.
I'm born to win.
The Born to Win podcast highlights individuals excelling at high levels in their purpose and calling. This podcast is for anyone looking to get ahead in life and willing to take action and reach their full potential. Using Champ's male mentoring model of the 3 E's, education, empowerment, and exposure, it means you too are born to win.